It's Christmas, and I have the jumper to prove it. What we often do over Christmas, of course, is see the rest of our families, not just the people we live with, but those in our wider families that we might not see very often, and frankly, we might not have much in common with other than a varying amount of DNA. And we don't see them to go and do something together, generally. We see them to go and sit in each other's houses trying to make conversations. This could be an opportunity for games. But as you know, science shows that 83% of households contain no good games at all. And the people who live in those households would therefore not know a good game if it kicked them in the meeples. Worse than that, they may not realise that for anyone out there, there is a game for them. And so if you show them the wrong game, they will be more than a little reluctant. Never mind, we are here to help. We have precision engineered 12 game recommendations for various kinds of reluctant relatives. And here it is, our reluctant relatives video, starting with John.
We love board games! Board games are great, yay! But we're finding it quite hard to introduce other board games to people because they like video games. But, like with all things board games, there is a solution. It's like a first-person shooter in a box. That's right. It's called Adrenaline, and it's brilliant. It's one of my favourites. You're robots and humans and whatever that thing is, running around in this upside right way around space station, shooting each other with weapons you just randomly happen to pick up off the floor, because that happens. And the way you win is by causing people pain. It's fun. I like to play it with my teenage friends because they also like to play it. Even if they do slightly throw the pieces everywhere, it's fun.
Just toddlers, right? Animals, ABCs, numbers. Animals, numbers, and a little bit of reading, I guess. Read the numbers. So this is a game where you're trying to get the best cards, and the simplest way to play it is just luck. Just turn over the card. Oh, great, I've got this one. I might win now. But then you can get even more sophisticated with up to drafting, picking, loads of stuff you can do with this game. There are a variety of cards like one cow, one farmer, a worm, a pig, 3 pigs, 4 pigs, 7 billion pigs. No, there aren't 7 billion pigs. But it's just a really good game. It's really fun. I really enjoy it. Toddlers are definitely going to really enjoy it. I played it with some toddlers before. They loved it. They wouldn't stop nagging me about playing it again, so maybe it's not such a good game to pick. But anyways, it's generally really good, and it's a good way to pass your time, although it only takes 10 minutes normally.
Now, most families have somebody who is sports mad, perhaps an uncle who turns up to Christmas dinner in his football shirt, spends the whole dinner talking about the minutiae of transfers and performance and form, and then accuses you of being geeky because you're into board games. But let's not go there. This is all about inclusion and meeting people halfway. So here is a game that is appealing both to board gamers and to sports people. Downforce, based on the sport, of course. Motor racing, we have a review of it up on our channel, but it's a fantastic card-driven racing game, lots of interesting decisions, and very quick, very colourful, very appealing, perfect to put out.
You could say it's got a good engine.
To re-energise in after a big heavy Christmas dinner. Downforce.
So this is our 4th game, Baron Park. Pretty self-explanatory if you speak German, literally translates into bear park. This we thought would be good for the animal lover, for instance Eric there. I don't know why I called him Eric. Because, well, like I already said, you're building a bear park. It's a tile laying game where you're kind of getting tiles from this board and putting them onto your map, kind of bear parky thing, which is slowly expanding. So yeah, it's a very good game, and I like it because First of all, it's really cute because, you know, bears. And second of all, I like the kind of mechanism because when you put down tiles, they'll cover up other things, like, I don't know why I keep opening and shutting this box. If I covered up that would mean I get an enclosure, which I'm not going to go into because it's completely pointless.
You're at a party and a cool person is walking in and you think there is no way I'm going to get to play a game with someone who is this cool. That's completely wrong. There is this game! Yay! It's quite cool, I think. By board game standards, it's really quite cool. I mean, it's got skulls in. And it's a game all about lying to people. I mean, isn't liking death and lying to people what makes you cool in the first place? It is fun. It is fun. You can play it with up to 5 friends, which is how many friends I actually have. Convenient. And it's also got flowers in, so if you don't really like skulls, you can just be nice to people, give them lots of flowers. Yay! And if they get a skull, then you can laugh at them. Yay! What's not to love?
There's always that person at any family gathering who you've never met before. Could be your auntie's new husband, maybe they got married recently. Just someone you don't really know very well and you want to get to know. This is a great game to play in that situation. It's really fun, the art is amazing, and it's social, competitive, doesn't take very long, up to half an hour. In this game, you move yourself on. You're just trying to get... So there's a track made of cards. You're trying to move yourself from one end of the track back to the other and back again. But there are things you can do to mess up another player's game. It's hilarious, really. They're called Loki cards. Odin's Ravens. Loki. Get it? Anyways, it can get really funny. It's like, oh yes, I'm nearly done. No, you're not. I've just screwed up your entire game.
Some grandmas are great grandmas, and some grandmas are just great. This is a group where we don't really talk about the gaming needs of older people very much, but actually they are able to participate in games. I think what they get overwhelmed by is the sheer complexity and all the pieces. So what you need is something quite simple and quite short, but of course with interesting decisions. And my go-to for this group is probably No Thanks.
Ta-da!
Thank you. No Thanks is familiar because it's based on numbered cards, and but also it has this really interesting and original, almost bidding mechanism of placing tokens on a card when you don't want it. It's a sort of reverse bid. I think it's a fantastic game. Obviously, it's a classic, but people don't talk about it all that much, except as a kind of filler. But I think in its own right, again, after dinner, put this on. You'll almost certainly have success.
So, this is a very good game if you are a crazy person like me. So, it is called Rampage in some places, but they have renamed it called Terror in Meeple City for some reason. Anyway, this is for a crazy child, namely Steve, because it's a very dexterity-like game where you are flicking your feet across the board, and you're trying to basically blow up, destroy buildings, throw cars at each other, and do a lot of stuff like that to try and be the best monster at eating things.
There you are, sitting, enjoying a rare, quiet moment, when suddenly pitter-patter of tiny footsteps and the chirrup of excited voices. 8 cousins which are conveniently cut out of brown paper. And they're all saying one thing. Play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me! Okay, and you despair because you do not know what to do with 8 excitable 7-year-olds who want to play with you. Cue Telestrations. This is a game where you have to draw and also to guess what other people have drawn, which makes it even more fun if you're playing with 5-year-olds, because no one knows what 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, whatever year olds are drawing. It's funny, it's clever, you get to do artistic things, and also you get to improve your spelling if you're a 5-year-old on the team with an adult. And there are 2 ways you can play it. One is competitive, and the other one is not competitive. So, if you are playing with 5-year-olds, you don't have to expect tantrums if one person is not doing as well as the other 7. I have nothing more to say.
There's always someone into art, and this is definitely the game. It's amazing. The art is absolutely incredible. I can't even, it's just brilliant. The game itself is really fun as well. This is a game where you read minds. It's really fun. And the more players you play it with, the harder it gets. One person is the storyteller. They have a hand of cards. They pick one, and they say a word or phrase describing it. Then, the other players have to put forward a card, which could also be what that word or phrase was. And then, all the cards are shuffled and placed out on the table, and you have to guess which one is the storyteller's. And it can get quite bonkers. And you get points for how many people guess, but if all of the players guess, you lose points. It gets a bit chaotic if you start playing it with too many people, so I'd kind of keep it at a mediocre point. Stop.
So in Britain we have this phrase, liking a bit of a flutter, which is essentially a kind of euphemism for slightly liking gambling, usually not in a socially problematic way. And although gambling for money has its difficulties, the basic cognitive exercise of guessing and having a stake in possible future events is fascinating and brilliant. And if you can encapsulate that in a game that takes only about half an hour to play, plays equally well between 2 and 8, what's to lose? I'm really, of course, talking about Camel Up, which has recently had a new version. This is the old, slightly battered version that we have. I think this is a fantastic game. It does take a little bit of explanation, but once you're into it, you're betting, you're manipulating the race. It's a blast. Camel Up for anyone who likes a bit of a flutter. And those of you who didn't know that phrase, now you do. Education.
So, this game is a Hail Mary in 2 ways. A bit because the game is actually Hail Mary. You're taking a lot of chances when you're attacking and when you're forming alliances with people. But also a Hail Mary to play as a family, because it could go catastrophically wrong, but if it does go right, it would be fantastic. I like this game. I consider myself a bit of a Hail Mary. I like this game because you're, it's kind of a bit, not hidden identity, but you could be making an alliance with somebody while also planning to secretly take over the world while they're not looking. Because that's the kind of games I like. Anyway, so yeah, it's a very good game. You can play it with up to 4 people. Oh yeah, one more thing. It just actually looks amazing. No, seriously, it looks amazing. Bye!
Well, I hope that was entertaining or possibly even useful to you. What I'd really like in the comments is if you wanted to suggest something that you're going to try this Christmas with one of your relatives and see how that goes. Maybe we can check in with you after Christmas and see if you've been successful. But now, it's over to you. Good luck.